$500. That was every cent of cash I had left in my wallet. I clutched the bills until they wrinkled, my palms sweating profusely. I was standing in the dark alley behind the magnificent Grand Oralia Hotel, my breath coming in short gasps and my heart threatening to pound out of my chest. Inside, Brad, the scumbag ex-boyfriend who had cheated on me for 2 years, was holding his engagement party with Tiffany, the daughter of my company's CEO. Even worse, Tiffany had sent me an invitation with a provocative note. "Make sure to bring your new boyfriend. I heard he's very rich. Don't let Brad down." I had blurted out a lie that I was seeing a tycoon just to salvage a shred of dignity. But now, there was no tycoon in sight, only humiliation waiting to pounce. I couldn't walk in there alone. Absolutely not. Just then, a shadow separated itself from the stained brick wall. A tall man was standing there, smoking next to a pile of cardboard boxes. He wore an old black t-shirt, faded jeans, and his hands were stained with black grease. He looked like a mechanic who had just got off a shift, or perhaps a homeless drifter. But thanks to the dim street lamp, I saw his face. Beautiful, a rugged, dangerous beauty, sharp as a razor. There was no time to be picky. I took a deep breath and rushed up to him. "Hey, you want to make some money?" The man slowly exhaled a plume of smoke, his amber eyes narrowing as he looked at me like I was an alien species. He didn't answer, just raised an eyebrow. I shoved the wad of $500 into his hand, my voice trembling. $500. I just need you to pretend to be my boyfriend for 1 hour. Go in there, smile, nod, and don't say anything. I'll give you more when we're done. He looked at the money in his hand, then at the cheap evening gown I was wearing. The corner of his mouth quirked up in a cryptic half-smile. "You're hiring me." His voice was deep and husky, sounding like a cracked cello, full of magnetism. "Yes, agree quickly, I'm going to be late." I stomped my foot impatiently. He stubbed out his cigarette on a trash can lid and brushed the dust off his shirt. "Fine, but I'm very expensive. $500 is only enough to..." "Open the car door for me." I was speechless. This beggar dared to complain about the pay, but the music from the banquet hall was already playing. I grit my teeth and unclasped the vintage luxury watch from my wrist, the only gift my father had left me. "This is worth $2,000. Is that enough?" He took the watch, a strange glint of interest flashing in his eyes. He strapped it onto his grease-stained wrist, then suddenly reached out, pulling me hard against his solid chest. "Deal! Let's go, girlfriend." He dragged me through the back door of the hotel. I thought he would be clumsy walking into such a luxurious place, but no. His stride was more confident and arrogant than any VIP guest there. As we stepped into the main hall, the blinding crystal chandeliers dazzled me. But immediately, Tiffany's shrill voice rang out. "Oh my God, look who's here. Ilara Vance. And this is... Oh Lord, what is that?" Tiffany and Brad were standing in the middle of the crowd, champagne glasses in hand, staring at the man beside me. Brad burst out laughing. "Ilara, is this the tycoon you talked about? Look at him, did he just crawl out from under a truck? The smell of grease is stinking up the whole hall." The entire room erupted in laughter. My face burned, so ashamed I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. I kept my head down, gripping the arm of the man beside me, silently praying for the hour to pass quickly. But the man, whose name I hadn't even asked, didn't flinch. He squeezed my hand gently, transmitting a reassuring warmth. Then he looked up, his cold gaze sweeping over Brad and Tiffany. In an instant, the laughter in the room died out. It was the look of a predator at the top of the food chain. "Grease," he repeated slowly, his voice echoing through the hall. "I was just fixing the brake system on my Rolls-Royce. Is there a problem?" Brad sneered. "You have a Rolls-Royce? I bet you can't even afford a tire. Security, throw this beggar out. He's dirtying my engagement party." Burly security guards rushed forward aggressively. I panicked, trying to pull him away to run, but he stood still as a rock. He reached into the pocket of his faded jeans and pulled out a jet-black card. No numbers, just a gold-plated dragon emblem in the center. He held the card between two fingers, raising it in front of the head of security. "Open your dog eyes and look. Do you want this hotel to change owners tonight?" The moment the head of security saw the card, his face drained of blood. He trembled, his knees nearly buckling. He bowed 90 degrees, stammering, "Sir, I apologize, we were blind. Please, please make yourself at home." The whole room was stunned. Brad and Tiffany stared at each other in shock. I stared blankly at the man beside me. What was that card? A fake bought online. He turned to me, winking mischievously, then pulled me straight to the main table, kicked Brad's chair away, and sat down casually. "Sit down, darling. Didn't you say you were hungry? Eat all this lobster. You need to make your $500 back." Throughout the party, no one dared to breathe a word. The head of security personally brought the hotel's finest wine to pour for him. Brad was purple with rage, but dared not do anything, fearing some underground power. After the party, he walked me to the door. I hurriedly took back the fake black card, or so I assumed, and tried to ask for the watch back. "Thank you, your acting was god-tier. Where did you buy that card? It looks so real." He looked at me and chuckled. "Keep the card, consider it a meeting gift. As for the watch, I'll keep it as collateral. See you tomorrow." "Tomorrow? Why would we meet again?" I asked, confused. "Because you haven't paid me enough yet. I told you I'm expensive." He leaned close to my ear, whispering, "Bring your ID to Thorn Financial Tower tomorrow. Top floor, don't be late." With that, he turned and walked away, disappearing into the night. At the same moment, a gleaming black Rolls-Royce Phantom pulled up, the chauffeur rushing to open the back door, and I swore I saw that beggar step into the car. The next morning, I still thought I had hallucinated. But the bank debt notice and the termination letter from my company, courtesy of Tiffany's influence, pulled me back to reality. I was unemployed and drowning in debt. With nothing left to lose, I took a gamble and brought my resume to Thorn Financial Tower, the city's largest corporation. I didn't believe the man from last night. I was just trying my luck. But as soon as I said my name at the reception, the staff looked at me with awe. "Ms. Vance, the chairman is expecting you. Please take the private elevator to the 88th floor." "Chairman." I stepped into the elevator with trembling legs. The doors to the CEO's office opened. The room was as large as my entire apartment, with glass walls overlooking the city. Sitting behind a massive mahogany desk was a man in a hand-tailored dark blue suit, hair perfectly styled, radiating an oppressive, regal aura. But on his luxurious left wrist, completely out of place, was my father's old watch. 3 minutes late. He looked up, those familiar amber eyes locking onto mine. You are." My jaw dropped, dropping my folder. "Kalen Thorne, chairman of the Thorne Group, and also..." He stood up, walking around the desk toward me. "Your historically underpaid rental boyfriend." I backed away until my back hit the door. "But last night you were dressed like a mechanic." "That's a personal hobby. I like to fix my supercars myself." Kalen shrugged, cornering me. "The problem is, Alara, you hired me, and my services don't come with a one-time trial, especially since you dared to use $500 in small bills to insult me." I'm sorry, I'll pay you back." "I don't need money." Kalen pulled a contract from his suit pocket. "Tiffany, your beloved rival, is preparing to foreclose on your parents' house, right? And Brad is spreading rumors that you're a gold digger." "How did he know everything?" "Sign this." Kalen slapped his hand on the paper. "Marriage contract. Be my wife for 1 year. In return, I will help you get your house back, kick Brad and Tiffany out of your life, and..." He leaned down, his hot breath fanning my face. I will teach you how to spend money like a true billionaire. I looked at the contract, then at his unreasonably handsome face. Was this selling my soul to the devil or winning the lottery? I picked up the pen. Fine, but I have one condition. Speak. You can't force me to do that if I don't want to. Kaylin laughed loudly, the sound filling the room. Agreed, but I bet in less than a month you'll be the one begging me for it. And so my life took the craziest turn. That very afternoon, Kaylin took me to collect debts. The destination was the launch party for Brad's company's new project. He was standing on the podium, rambling about a project that was actually based on ideas he had stolen from me. The hall doors burst open. I walked in, wearing the season's most expensive haute couture dress, flanked by Kaylin Thorne, the man the entire business world bowed to. Seeing Kaylin, Brad's face went pale, and the glass in his hand shattered on the floor. He rushed down from the stage, groveling. Mr. Thorne, what an honor. Are you here to invest in my project? Kaylin coldly brushed past him, walking straight onto the stage. He picked up the microphone, his voice echoing like a death sentence. This project is canceled. What? Brad stammered. Why, this idea is my life's work. Life's work, Kaylin sneered, pulling me up to stand beside him. This idea belongs to my wife, and I don't recall her giving permission for a thief like you to use it. Your wife, sir. Brad looked at me, his eyes bulging. Tiffany screamed from the audience. Impossible. That girl just hired a beggar. Beggar, Kaylin snapped his fingers. A huge screen behind us lowered, playing surveillance footage of Brad and Tiffany sneaking data from my computer, along with text messages of them plotting to ruin me. Brad, you are fired from the project and will be sued for intellectual property theft. And Tiffany, Kaylin looked down at the trembling girl, Thorne Group is officially withdrawing capital from your father's company. Good luck with the bankruptcy tomorrow. The hall erupted in chaos. Brad collapsed to the floor, crying and begging. Tiffany fainted on the spot. I stood there, watching those who had trampled on me now miserable at my feet. A wave of satisfaction rose up, mixed with trembling adrenaline. Kaylin wrapped his arm around my waist, whispering in my ear. Satisfied yet, Mrs. Thorne. I looked up at him, feeling my heart skip a beat for the first time. Because, he whispered, that night you were the only one who saw a grease-covered Kaylin Thorne without looking at me with contempt. You gave me everything you had, even if it was just $500. To me, that was the riskiest investment and also the most worthy. After the face-slapping drama, I officially moved into Kaylin Thorne's mansion. I thought this was a cold marriage contract, but I was dead wrong. The first trouble, the only bed. The first night at Thorne Manor, the butler led me to the master bedroom. I looked around. The room was vast but had only one king-size bed. Wait, butler, where is the guest room? Kaylin walked in, untying his tie nonchalantly. This house has no guest rooms, and the contract clearly states, must act the part of a couple 24/7 to avoid family suspicion. Do you plan to sleep on the sofa so the press can report that the Thorne couple separated on their wedding night? I was silenced. That night I lay on the very edge of the bed, heart pounding. But in the middle of the night, the warmth from the person next to me made me unconsciously roll into his arms. Waking up the next morning, I found my leg thrown over the cold billionaire, while he stared at me with teasing eyes. You sleep terribly, Mrs. Thorne. Life went on with gentle flutters of emotion until the final boss arrived. Mrs. Elena Thorne, Kaylin's mother, the Iron Lady of the business world, returned from Switzerland. She summoned me to a high society tea party. The goal was clear: humiliate me for not knowing aristocratic rules so I would retreat. She made me brew tea, tested my knowledge of art, and even insulted my background in front of other wives. Mistletoe shouldn't try to wrap around a pine tree, Mrs. Alina said meaningfully while sipping her tea. I clenched my fists, intending to endure it for the contract. But I remembered Kaylin's words. "You are Mrs. Thorne, you are equal to all of them." I held my head high, smiling in response. "Mother, mistletoe lives as a parasite, but I am a climbing rose. I have thorns. And your son is the one who planted this rose in his garden. If you want to uproot it, I'm afraid the one who will hurt the most is Kaylin." Mrs. Alina was stunned. No one had ever dared to talk back to her like that. Just as the tension peaked, Kaylin appeared. He didn't say anything, just walked over, took the teacup from my hand, and set it down. "Mom, I told you. My wife doesn't need to know how to brew tea. We have servants. She just needs to know how to spend my money." He grabbed my hand and pulled me away, leaving the stunned room behind. Once in the car, he sighed. "You're brave, daring to argue with my mother." "Didn't you tell me to act the part?" I pouted. Kaylin laughed, pulling me into a deep kiss. "Excellent acting. So good that I want to turn fake into real right now." Ending scene. A year passed quickly. The contract expired. I packed my bags, intending to leave as agreed. Though my heart ached, I knew my place. But the door was locked tight. Kaylin stood leaning against it, holding not the termination papers, but a different sheet. "Where are you going?" "The contract is up. I'm returning your freedom." Kaylin tore the old contract to shreds, throwing the confetti into the air. "Who gave you permission to leave? You violated Clause 10 of the contract." "What clause?" I remember them all. Supplementary clause. If during the cooperation one party develops real feelings, the contract automatically extends to indefinite. He knelt down, pulling out my father's old watch, the item he had worn every day for the past year. "You used this to hire me for 1 hour. Now I'm using the entire Thorne fortune and my life to hire you forever. Is the price acceptable, Mrs. Thorne?" I burst into tears, rushing into his arms. "Too expensive, but I accept." Perhaps that $500 was the most profitable investment of my life. From the dark alley behind the hotel to the top of the skyscraper, I knew my adventure with this beggar, billionaire, would never end.